Welcome back. If it has joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Federal government announces third coronavirus case in Nigeria. A 30-year-old UK returnee is set to be stable and already taken into quarantine in Lagos. Federal government bans government officials from embarking on foreign trips, orders Nigerians returning to the country to go on self-isolation for 14 days. House of Representatives asks federal government to immediately cut in half all flights from COVID-19 high-risk countries as Senate recommends review of 2020 budget. And European Union to ban travellers from outside the bloc for 30 days in an unprecedented move to seal its borders amid the coronavirus crisis. Plus business, sports, news from Abuja, the FCT, and later international news from our London studios. Our website, channelstv.com, has more information on our top stories and others. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. Let's go now to our correspondent, Chris Lems, who's at the isolation center in Yaba, Lagos, for more on the latest COVID-19 case in Lagos. Chris, what have you observed so far?
Thank you, Mara. Well, this is a very secure environment, and so we couldn't really get access in there, but we had to make use of the space outside here to really tell the story. Well, this place right now is calm, and not much is happening except for a few persons trickling in and out to see probably their relatives that are here. But we do know that the 30-year-old returnee, or the third confirmed case, is right here, is actually isolated here. And we are also told that some of our contacts, including our family members, have also been brought in here. We remember that the mainland hospital here was the first port of call when we had the first case, or the index case, confirmed on the 27th of February. Well, he's still very much here. Even the second case that was also traced to him was also brought in here. But thank God that he recovered quickly with the support of the people around, and with the support of NCDC. But the third case, very interesting. It's an interesting case because people are beginning to applaud the fact that she isolated herself, confined herself just to her family. She actually didn't go out. But the questions people are asking is, what happens to the other passengers that actually traveled down to the country with her? What happens to them? We don't know the figures of people, but what really happens to them, and how are we going to trace these people? But for now, we are told that she's clinically stable and she's responding well to treatment.
Chris, as you said, many questions in mind here. First of all, a long line of people to trace, people she traveled with, people she had contact with at the airport, family members and everybody else. And then did she notice any symptoms, before she went into self-isolation? These are questions that need to be answered. Is anyone there providing you with any answers to some of these questions?
Okay, I actually tried getting in touch with the medical director of the facility, who said we would need the permission of the Commissioner of Health to actually carry on with this interview. And we sought the permission, actually, of the Commissioner, but it probably came a bit too late. And I'm quite sure the coming days will provide us more time to really answer some of the questions that are being peddled at this moment. But still, if you go to social media today, you see there are a lot of questions people are beginning to ask. They're wondering how prepared is the country to tackling this menace, this virus that is ravaging the world, especially where it took about 3 days for the new case to actually get the attention of NCDC has been speculated. So there are a lot of questions being asked at this point. But for now, the case, the new case is still very much here. And what we've been told is that she's responding to treatment, and of course that she's clinically stable.
Well, Chris, thanks again. More questions than answers. What sorts of treatment she's receiving and all of this. Hopefully, as you said, we'll have more answers as the days come. Thanks again, Chris. Our correspondent Chris Elems in Yaba, Lagos, at the isolation center, monitoring the situation with the latest COVID-19 case. Let's go now to Ibrahim Adra in Abuja, who has more also on the coronavirus case in Nigeria. Ibrahim?
That's right. Many thanks indeed, Amarachi. Let's look at what we know thus far as the third case of the coronavirus in Nigeria goes. Now, we do know that it's a 30-year-old Nigerian lady who came aboard a British airline, landed in Nigeria on the 13th of March 2020, and so the woman tests positive and went into self-isolation. Of course, we also have it on authority that she works with an NGO. Self-isolation, and now, as you heard from Chris earlier on, she's at the mainland hospital in Yaba receiving treatment. Now let's quickly look at the timeline of the coronavirus cases in Nigeria as well. On the 27th of February 2020, the first confirmed case of the pandemic of coronavirus. And then on the 1st of March 2020, 4 Chinese citizens quarantined in Plateau State. Then on the 9th of March 2020, President Muhammadu Buhari announced a presidential task force. On the 9th of March 2020, a Nigerian citizen who had contact with the Italian citizen is in the second case. Then on the 10th of March 2020, Turkish Airlines canceled all flights coming into Nigeria. 3 days later, on the 13th of March, our second case tests negative. And then on the 17th of March, that's today, we heard about the third case, which has been confirmed. Let's now have some more insights into the confirmation of a third case of coronavirus in the country today. And I'm being joined by Dr. Olorunnibe Mamora, the Minister for State Health. Dr. Mamora, thank you very much for joining us on the news at 10.
Ibrahim, thank you very much for inviting me.
Just when Nigerians were celebrating the declaration of the second case as being negative, then this. What has this done to your confidence? Would you still think we're handling this very well?
Well, within the limits of what we can do, I think it has not shaken our confidence as officials involved, government officials involved in managing the whole situation.
Well, okay, so tell me about this. Many countries around the world have imposed different kinds of travel restrictions, but then the federal government just announced one today, strictly for government officials. Do you think we're doing enough, or should we be doing something more?
Well, I think the first thing to say is that the whole situation is dynamic. And to that extent, situation changes, and it is what you have at a given point in time that will determine and dictate the next line of action. The important thing is the preparedness and response. And what the Federal Ministry of Health and, of course, Nigeria Center for Disease Control and other agencies concerned. What we are doing is to strengthen our preparedness and response activities. And of course, despite being guided by the WHO guidelines and what have you, as a nation, we're still at liberty to put in place whatever measures that we consider would be in the best interest of our national health security.
Absolutely, that's my point exactly. I mean, these other countries also have their preparations on ground, yet they are slamming bans on countries and stopping people from coming in completely. Is there something in particular that we are afraid of?
Not particularly. We're just while it is important to be proactive, but at the same time, we measure what we do in terms of looking at weighing all the options given the circumstance. And I can assure you, the bit of what you've had this evening has been outcome of the first meeting, inaugural meeting of the Presidential Task Force. I can assure you that more things are still coming.
The area of social contact, that's a big issue, isn't it? Do you think this country needs to do more, perhaps take more proactive steps towards reducing how people converge, perhaps in markets, prayer prices, and do you think we've done enough?
Oh, definitely we need to do more. Nigerians, they need to appreciate that what we have at hand is a global pandemic. And again, we just need to the issue of social distancing, we need to take it more seriously. Handshaking, hugging, gathering in large numbers and all that. These are things that we just must put on hold. And you recall that earlier today, following the briefing that the Ministry of Health and, of course, the Minister of Youth and Sports. Well, I was privileged to be with the Minister to visit Mr. President, to brief Mr. President. After that, Mr. President decided that the National Sports Festival, which is due to take place, I think, in a couple of weeks, has now been suspended. So that is to tell you that we are responding to the situation at hand.
So we must
and
escalate.
We must, of course, take that further.
We must escalate social distance as is being termed.
It's very important.
I'd like to thank you, Dr. Mamora, for coming on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
And when the News at 10 returns, President Muhammadu Buhari assures Nigerians of federal government's commitment to explore all alternatives to protect citizens from economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic. That's on Business News. Join us again.